I am Sandy Spady with the Power Up Talk Show. It's a talk show where we bring together community leaders and inspirational people that are making a difference in our world. Before I introduce our amazing guest, we always like to begin with the amazing Craftsman cocktail of Omaha metro area, probably the state, Dion Bass with Songbirds Cocktails.
If compliments were money, Sandy, I would be rich with you, love.
It's all the truth.
So today we're going to do a couple of cocktails. We're going to do an NA spritz, and then we're going to do a classic Aperol spritz. So as you can see, I already have my Aperol and my Monin Blackberry Sangria mix already poured. Now, with the Aperol, I'm going to mix it up a little bit and add a Veuve Rosé that's sparkling. Give it a few more citrus characteristics. I mean, I often wonder why people haven't already started using rosé and Aperol together, because it just sounds like a great idea to me. And then lastly, I'm going to add a little Topo Chico to the top of it. Now, this is going to kind of have two functions. It's going to function as a carbonation agent. It's also going to function as a dilution agent. So with our Blackberry Monin, we're going to add a little bit of Sprite. So essentially, we're copying this cocktail, but we're making it in a different way. And then that's going to be basically our citrus, our lime, and then we're going to add a Topo Chico, which serves the same purpose, carbonating and diluting.
I love how you have both, mocktail, cocktail. You can have the world.
And as you can see, we have a little orange rind and some rosemary for our garnish, and that is my cocktail lesson today, Sandy. Enjoy your show.
Thanks, Dion.
Thanks for having me.
Always. All righty, let's toast to our amazing mocktail cocktails, Andrew. I love it. Okay. So nice to have variety. I'm very excited for this handsome, outgoing, amazing guest today that's engaged to my good friend Natalie McCall. It is Andrew Schultz, and he is co-owner of Host Coffee and VP of Sales. And Host Coffee has been around since 1972. They are doing something right. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Sandy. It's a pleasure to be here.
We met through my beautiful friend Natalie, and now here we are doing a talk show together.
Love what you're doing. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. Okay, Andrew, how does your family start a coffee? Host Coffee. Where did it start? What's the background? They're doing it right? 1972, they're doing something right. How did that all happen?
So my dad was a high school football coach, driver's ed instructor, and history teacher. And he wanted to make more money because my brother was getting ready to be born. And so he wanted to make more money for his family. And so he literally started selling coffee filters door to door as a side hustle. And that side hustle is now our family business, second generation.
Second generation.
That's how it started. He wanted to provide more for his family, and it was hard work. And he built something from nothing, and it's the essence of the American dream, if you will.
Wow. Are you the oldest or the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
So
my brother's
that was
4 years older.
Right? That was you. You were coming, and we needed to get some more income, and he just did it door to door.
Yeah.
I love cold calling, but not the whole world likes cold calling. But back in the day in the 70s, right? That's what they did. And I just find that so exciting. Honestly, I love meeting people. And to think that your dad did that. How long after did he quit his job and do it full time?
I think it was 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, he would get up at, 4:30 in the morning every day. And, my first memories, I was probably 3 or 4 years old. And, I remember hearing the garage door open, and it would be, first thing, 4:30 in the morning, and he'd come home at 6 and just work his tail off. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned from him, is that there's no substitute for hard work. And I saw him create something from nothing that wasn't there. And, growing up in that house, I was like, wow, I really respect what he's doing. And that's really stayed with me for all these years.
What was it like having a family? I'm sure you all took your spot, right? That you all helped out. Like growing up with your father, having the Host Coffee, what was your spot? What was your brother's spot? Like, what was it that you remember?
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember working in the family business. I remember, starting at age 12 or 13, we would go we would work in the summers. Our summer job was in the family business, breaking down boxes in the warehouse. It's 100 degrees, no air conditioning, breaking down boxes, putting in vending machines and coffee machines. And, back then we didn't have the equipment and technology that they do now. So it was a lot of hard work. And so every summer working in the family business, so I've been working in the family business since I was very young. And it's something that's been ingrained in me. I got to see what my dad did every day over and over to support our family and to provide, our family with, so many blessings and opportunities that maybe others wouldn't. And it's because his work ethic, and he created this business. And it's something that I take with me. If there's one thing I learned from my dad, it's that there's absolutely no substitute for hard work. And he earned everything he's gotten.
I love that.
Yeah.
Coming from a small town, family-owned restaurant, right? You find hard work. That's what's embedded with small local businesses.
Absolutely.
What was it like? What do you all do at Host Coffee? Now it's like, over 50 years,
Yep.
Technology, greatness. Like, what's all going on?
Well, when I graduated college in 2001, my dad thought I was going to come back and work for the family business. And when I told my dad that I wasn't, he didn't talk to me for about 6 months. We were actually playing golf, and we were on the second hole, and I was so nervous because I just got back from college. He assumed that we were going to start working together, and I was so nervous to tell him. I've never been so scared in my life. And I said, Dad, there's something I got to tell you. He said, what? And we're playing golf, second hole. And I said, Dad, I don't want to work in the family business.
You had a lot of holes to play. Ouch.
He didn't talk to me for the rest of the round, plus 6 months later. Oh. And I moved to San Diego. And the reason I did that, Sandy, is I didn't want the rest of my life handed to me. I wanted to create more life experiences. I wanted to find out, being from Omaha, I wanted to experience different cultures, more diversity. I wanted to just have my own life experiences. And I knew if I started working in the family business out of college, I knew what the rest of my life would look like, and I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And so I moved to San Diego, and I was out there for 23 years, doing my own thing, having success in the corporate world. And I never thought I would move back to Omaha. And, I got a call a year and a half ago from my brother. And when I left, we had about 10 employees. And, as of a year and a half ago, when I moved back, we had 54 employees. Wow. And just this tremendous growth. And my brother's never asked for help before. And he's been running the family business basically right after I left after college to move to San Diego. And he's never asked for help. And he asked me a year and a half ago to come home and help. And it's not something I wanted to do, I'm going to be honest, but it's something I needed to do. Yeah. And the biggest reason was, 10 years ago, I was in a very dark place. Drugs and alcohol. I was in this downward spiral of addiction, and I'd pushed everybody away, and I lost everything. I had a house, I had, a wife, I had, the corner office vice president title at this corporate job that was paying me really well, and season tickets to the Chargers when they were still in San Diego, flying first class, playing the nicest golf courses, drinking expensive wine. Because of what I did, people wanted our business. And so that really got to my head, the ego, and just being 29 years old and having all these things, this success without really infrastructure to support it. Yeah. I turned to drugs and alcohol, and it was very stressful, my job. And so my coping mechanism was drugs and alcohol. Mm-hmm. And it worked for a little bit, and then it stopped working. And by the time it stopped working, I had lost everything. And my family, by the grace of God, they did an intervention, and it saved my life, and they got me the help that I needed. And so when my brother asked me for help, how dare I not, after everything that he was the one spearheading all the support that they got me. And it's just, it's priceless. And so when he asked me to come home, it was an easy answer.
Yeah.
Not something I wanted to do, and it's something I needed to do.
Yeah.
And so I moved back a year and a half ago, and I think, the best part, Sandy, is I got to have 23 years of experiences.
Yeah.
West Coast, entrepreneurial spirit, having a lot of success, having a lot of failures. Actually, they're not failures, they're learning opportunities. There's no such thing as failure.
Yeah.
It's a learning opportunity. And it's just, I get to bring all those experiences back into our family business, this second generation, this new chapter of our company that we call Healthy Winning. Chapter 1 was my dad starting the company, for the first 20 years. The second chapter was my brother taking over from my dad, running it for the next 20 years. And here we are I call it the third chapter, where it's my brother and I together. And, we had this offsite with our business coach and mapping out what the next 10 years looks like. And it's called Healthy Winning. And so, it's something special about this stewardship, an awesome responsibility to be the ones to carry forward a family business as a second generation. And it's an awesome responsibility for, all of our employees, their families. It's employee health is important to us, but it's stewardship is this word that I use, that it's just an awesome responsibility to carry forward this generational gift that we've been given.
How do you want to see that chapter go forward? Like, where do you see that? It's such a great name. Like, where do you want to see that chapter helping those families that work with you and with the community? I know you do a lot with the community. Where do you see that chapter?
Great question. Employee health. We have a therapist on staff for all of our employees, for mental health, for support, work-life balance. It's the same therapist that I've been using the last 2 years, and I asked her if she would be comfortable supporting all of our employees, and it's something that we pay for as owners of the company, for all of our employees to have access to a therapist for mental health.
Yes.
That's something that is, my dad, he did the best he could with what he had, and that generation was a lot different, but this is important to us to support our employees as an added benefit of, how can we support our people and their families, and making sure that, their personal life, whatever they're going through, that they have the support, confidential support, with whatever they're going through. So employee health, it's win-win mentality instead of a zero-sum, I win, you lose, where that was my dad's generation. He was competing with others, and it was, he would stay up all night stressing about customers that he lost, and waking up first thing in the morning just with this drive to get more customers, and the stress of that for so many years. I saw it play out in our family.
Yeah.
And he's sober as well.
Nice.
But that was a coping mechanism he used, and I saw that.
Yeah.
And so zero sum, his generation, our generation, healthy winning, win-win mentality, partnering with other coffee companies, partnering with other people in the community of how to do good, help others, and make money. And it's like partnering with other companies to get more collaboration, and reinvesting money into our people and getting them training, investing in the future leaders, making sure we're investing more money and resources in our people because they are the future leaders. And so this is all healthy winning, chapter 3, employee stewardship. And I think, it's an exciting time that bringing 23 years of things that I got to do out in San Diego in a different realm to bring back, and my brother saying, hey, let's make it happen. I'm open to making this, taking it and run with it. The culture that we're creating in our company, the culture, we've transformed the culture over the last year and a half. Supportive, respectful, empowering, inclusive.
Those are great words. I like them all.
So our company culture is important, that we're spending time, energy, and resources in the company culture. And healthy winning, it's not zero sum, we win, you lose. It's we can all win. And there's a way to do that. And it's just to be really intentional with what we want to create. And, for the next 52 years, hopefully, to third and maybe fourth generations, just doing things in a different way. Because I truly believe we can all do good, help others, and make money.
Yes. And collaboration is a great word, right? That's how we collaborate. We can both collaborate each other, do things, come outside of the box, come up with some community things. And your employees, it is so important to be good to your employees. So many businesses lose good employees. And if they were just listened, cared, then they don't have to start all over again. So that's very smart.
And I think it's using my firsthand experience of when I was in the corporate world, if I would have raised my hand and asked for help, and I take responsibility for that, and I didn't do that. But I think going through that, and I like to say, our mess becomes our message. And that was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because it got me to where I am today. And I don't regret anything. And that rock bottom and that downward spiral, that my darkest hour is now my greatest asset, my superpower to help others. And that's why it's so important to get our employees the help from a therapist for their own mental health, because I know what I went through, and I never want somebody else to go through what I went through, that pain and suffering. And that's why it's so important that we're providing that for our people.
I think it's beautiful. I think everyone needs to learn from each other. And it's that journey. What the founder of Women with Voices, so many women have that journey, right? And that's why it's so important to share. What was that? Your message?
Our mess becomes our message.
Beautiful. It's beautiful, because it is. And then you become passionate about it. And then you want to make things different for others. You never want anyone to feel alone. That's just so great about it.
I felt alone. I was taking a bunch of sleeping pills, not wanting to wake up. That was my rock bottom. And I didn't want to kill myself, but I didn't want to feel the pain and suffering that I was feeling. And I don't wish that upon anybody. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it was a gift of desperation that let me allow my family to help me. And that's why I'm so passionate about, mentoring other young men who are battling addiction, mental health, depression, anxiety. It's something I do through, I'm also a transformational coach, and mentoring is like the thing that fills me up and just fuels my soul more than anything, to help other young men. Because when I was 16 years old, my parents got a divorce, my best friend committed suicide. And at 16, I didn't know how to deal with those emotions. And again, I didn't ask for help. I didn't know how to ask for help. And I turned to alcohol. And I want to make sure the younger generation have the tools and resources. And that's why, volunteering, mentoring is so important. I know you know this with what you're doing, your work, but just especially young men, that we don't ask for help. We try to do it on our own. We're lone wolves. We say we're okay, and there's a better way.
Yeah. So let's talk about that transformational coaching, because that's your passion and your purpose. How do you help others? How do you do it? How can if someone's out there listening and they're like, I need his help?
Well, I think the first thing is, people have to want the help, because I've learned the hard way that trying to help people who are not ready to accept the help is it's a futile effort. And so I like to say, people having the gift of desperation, they're hurting enough, they're in enough pain that it gets their attention to make a shift, to try new ways of being, taking different actions to get different results. Because if we keep doing what we've always done, we'll keep getting the results we've always gotten. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So for me, I had to have my family do an intervention to get me the help that I needed. So hopefully people don't get to that point, even though that is an option for families to do interventions. But I think the biggest thing is just raising our hand and asking for help. Picking up the phone and calling a trusted friend, a loved one, somebody that we can go to and confide in. And I think the biggest thing, Sandy, is just, especially for men, saying, ouch, I hurt.
Yes, to say that. It's your manlyhood, right? It's hard.
And it's just like we transmute the energy, and it loses its power when we're able to just verbalize our pain.
Yes.
And my first sponsor, when I first got sober, he taught me that. He's like, Andrew, raise your hand and say, ouch, I hurt. If you're struggling, no matter what time of day, I'm going to answer the phone, call me, and just say, ouch, you hurt. And I was like, I can do that.
That's a keynote speech. I feel like you are definitely a speaker. He's so naturally speaking his passion. That's what it is, right? When I set out to be a keynote speaker, I didn't set out to that, but I have such a passion on my journey, right? And that's when we want to help others.
Yeah.
But I love that, like, ouch, I need help. Like, it's so simple, but you can visualize it, you can hear it, you can see it, and it starts the conversation.
Yes. And that's step one. Just pick up the phone, or in person, have a conversation, meet somebody for coffee, just confide in somebody, share with what you're going through, and just be honest and vulnerable. And there's so much power taking that first step.
Yes.
But that's what I would recommend. Just confide in somebody, share with somebody what you're going through, and you can't do it alone.
No, we're not meant to.
That's the first step.
If someone wanted to hire you as a transformational coach, do you have time to do that?
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
When my brother asked me to come back, we set it up. I was very intentional. So Friday afternoons are my sweet spot for my coaching and mentoring. And I love it because my brother supported me. He knows how important the coaching is because he was so involved in my journey. So he knows how important to be of service, to empower others, to help do what I love to do, which is coach. So Friday afternoons is when I do that. I usually have 1 to 2 coaching clients. Not a lot, but it allows me to continue to have a passion project, because being of service is one of my top core values.
Nice.
Community service, top core values. But 1 to 2 coaching clients at a time, no more than that. But that allows me to have a good balance still, and still show up in the way that I want to for our family business.
I think that's beautiful. 1 or 2 people. Isn't Mother Teresa that said just help one person at a time and you're going to change the world? It's my favorite quote and my favorite saying.
Yes.
You're right. It's those 2 people. And you can have them have that hurdle and share your journey and help them too.
Absolutely.
Now, I believe you have a podcast.
Yes.
Don't you, Andrew?
It's called Positive Impact with Andrew Schultz.
Love it.
I started the podcast almost 7 years ago. And the reason I started the podcast is I was sick of the doom and gloom of the news, the 24/7, just if it bleeds, it leads. And I'm a very positive person. So the question I always come back to is, Andrew, what are you doing about it? How are you being the change you want to see in the world? So I started a podcast and I invited on, I was still in San Diego at the time. I just had these people who I really looked up to and respected, who were leaders of their communities, having a positive impact. And the cool thing, Sandy, is like when I reached out to these people that I was really scared to reach out to, people who I thought they would never come on, they all said yes.
I know it.
It was just...
We stop ourselves.
Yeah.
People want to help us. I say that all the time. Ask. You don't know.
And so I get to have these conversations for, an hour with people that I really respect and look up to. World-class athletes, authors, executives.
Talk
show hosts. Single moms who transform their life by taking their health into their own hands. Melissa Busby was one of my favorite conversations. She's a single mom. She's also sober, and she transformed her life and is a role model for her kids and her community. And she uses CrossFit as a way to do that. And she opened a CrossFit gym in Texas, and it's just inspiring because she took responsibility for her life and what she wanted to create.
Yeah. And
so I'll never forget that conversation. And so I get to do that as well. It's a passion project that I'm also really, I love amplifying the message of people who are having a positive impact, leading in their community, just like you are. You were a leader in our community. I love what you're doing. You inspire me.
Oh.
And so...
well, it's like we're called. Like God's knocking at the door and he's like, are you going to say yes? Open the door, right? Because we all have been through something that needs to be shared to help others not feel alone. And that's it. And God just gives us a great, way to share it and to talk it. Podcast, talk show, bringing amazing people, because that's what we're called to. And then you see the transformation and you're like, that's beautiful.
And he's going to keep knocking,
Yep.
God, and the knock gets louder and louder
Yep.
until we hear it.
Yep.
I know for me, the knocks were, subtle at first, and I had to get, whacked so hard and be in such a state of pain and suffering that it finally caught my attention. But it took what it took. No regrets, and it got me to where I am today. And I think that's the message for people listening, is just like, whatever the hardest thing that we go through, our darkest hour, our greatest challenge becomes our greatest asset and our superpower to help others go through similar things that we've been through, and we are uniquely qualified to help them because we firsthand went through it. We were here, we got to the other side, and then we get to create a roadmap for others.
Wow, that was beautiful. Wow. You gotta write that to me or send it to me. That was beautiful. Andrew, how can people get a hold of you? Let's say if they have a fundraiser or something and they want to host coffee, or like for fundraising community, you're transformational. How can we find you?
Okay, for family business, for all things Host Coffee, hostcoffee.net is our website. For transformational coaching, theandrewschultz.com is my website, and Positive Impact Andrew is my Instagram handle. Well, here's the thing. The website, it's Andrew Schultz, Schultz. Why do I say that? Because there's a world famous comedian, also Andrew Schultz. And if you don't type in the Schultz, it automatically goes to him, and I'll never find you.
We want Andrew.
It's not me.
Yes, Andrew.
So that's my website.
I love it.
Yep.
Thank you for being just a wonderful guest.
Thank you.
For changing lives.
Thank you.
Because you're doing it. Remember, audience, that you can make a difference. If you have something you have gone through, been through, and you feel like you survived it, share it. Share your message, because your message becomes powerful, and then things happen. This is Sandy Spady, your host. Thank you, and have a great day. And go be you. Go change the world.